Hi, Corinna. Very welcome to the CommUnity podcast, which is our podcast about all the things that are evolving in diverse communities across Europe. This one we're doing in Freiburg, in Breisgau, in Germany. So tell us first about yourself, who you are, and what is the Social Innovation Lab that you represent.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm Corinna. I work at the Social Innovation Lab for over 5 years now, and I'm a program manager there for our program that supports social startups and people with fresh ideas and for the social innovation sector.
Social Innovation Lab. It sounds so serious, but in fact, it's very cool. I can testify about the atmosphere that goes on around here.
Yeah.
I know what it means, but I didn't at the beginning, so we'll focus on that and some examples. Just earlier, we mentioned that it might be good for the listeners and viewers to firstly know about Freiburg. So I'll give you a little bit like a role of a tourist guide or something like that, just to explain what kind of city and region this is. Please.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so we're located in the southwest of Germany. And one thing that makes Freiburg really special to me is we're located between the Black Forest and the Kaiserstuhl. The Black Forest, I think, is well known. It's just a beautiful dark forest. And the Kaiserstuhl, we have actually volcanic area there where a lot of wine grows. So it's very warm. Yeah. People are really friendly, really open. There's a lot of good energy going on. Like people welcome other people with open arms here. And I think you can really feel that. Freiburg is known to be a very green city, a city where you can ride your bike everywhere. And I find that me coming also from southern Germany, but a different town, I always felt that Freiburg feels very Mediterranean in that way.
Yes, it does. It does. And that was the first thing. So just a little bit of retrospective. We moved here as private people and then as a company as well. Just, I think, 3 years ago now, almost 4 years ago.
I remember when you entered Social Innovation Lab.
And then before that, just during the COVID, so it's all foggy. So obviously, we researched about what kind of place this is. And those are the first things that you spot, and that it's the sunniest area.
Yeah, it is.
Of Germany. And yeah, now this summer is not really good, but it will be. It will be, yeah. And then this social change, social innovation thing, it's not new here. So it's here since 70s or something like that. I read that there was supposed to be a nuclear power plant, and at the time
the protests against that.
Yeah. There was change implemented here. And
absolutely.
That's how it kind of became an integral part of the town, right?
Definitely. There's an independent power source here, the EWS Stadtwerke Schönau. I think they originated from this anti-nuclear movement, and we still have a lot of self-organized housing departments here. Actually, the Mietshäuser Syndikat, which is a very important way to live self-sufficiently, has their own and Germany-wide only bureau here.
And they're sustainable, and
it's a very green city, also mindset-wise.
That works like that. Okay, so it's kind of tested and proven the social innovation thing. And then you have the Greenhof as a place for co-working, and it is innovative. And then you decided to gather this funding and start the social innovation side of things, which means that people who have these ideas get supported. How do they get supported through the Social Innovation Lab?
Yeah, so first of all, we have the lab, which is actually a place. It's a container. We're here in the ancient building called Lokhalle, and it's a very nice building that we put overseas containers in, and these containers are bureaus now. And so like office spaces, and we have our own office space, and that's a co-working space for all the social innovators wanting to come here. And what we always felt like, and what is really proven now, is that it's super important for people to come there and meet like-minded people, because a lot of them are having their ideas in the quiet chamber, as
where they could die. Ideas can die,
and where they're just so alone and they don't know, is this a good idea? Can this really survive? Will anyone take me seriously on this? Are there any good examples that this has worked before? And here we have all that. We have the knowledge to support, we have very good examples, and we also know what obstacles people have to overcome in order to be successful, and we can support and also sometimes build a shoulder to lean on in that.
That's such a good strategy. And it works. And you have how many members, do you know, like approximately?
Right now we have, I think it's 17 or 18 active members, but this is just this year. That's a lot.
Just this year?
Just this year. We have also a very large group of alumni that must be, I think, over 40 groups.
And they stay
now.
Connected then. It's a community.
They stay connected. It's a community. A lot of them, when they grow older, they kind of grow up and get too big for us, which is the goal ultimately.
Sad, but happy at the same time.
Yeah, they get their own rooms, they get their own infrastructure, they get a bigger team, and so they can't fit in our little container anymore. But we always stay very close and very connected, and maybe start doing projects with them, because we're now on an eye-to-eye level pretty much.
Amazing. So there's stages and there's this life cycle that
exactly
is sustainable. Okay. I also wanted to ask you to give me maybe a few examples of the types of social entrepreneurs that are in here now. We've interviewed some of them, I think 2 of them, that are from this community. And we've talked with them because of the type of the social goals that they have. We talked about the loneliness. So one of them is kind of combating that. We talked about supporting children and families through a specific thing. You'll know who I'm talking about. That's clothing and dresses. So very cool, very diverse, innovative. What else is happening? Like, give us a few examples of what people are doing to support the society.
Sure. So I think what it's really fun to understand first is where innovation happens, because we always think as innovation as a big, explosive, disruptive thing, but in the social sector it very rarely is that, because it little by little changes are being made, and then in the end you realize, oh, we've changed the whole system. This incremental innovation that we're focusing on is how innovation in the social sector works. And you can do that by either taking an existing idea and putting it in a new environment. For example, therapy has been in place for a long time, but when you combine it with, let's say, skateboarding, you have skateboard therapy. We have a female founder who is doing that, and by taking the kids skateboarding, she gets a much better access to them. The kids open up, and after being they put their power in the skateboard, then and putting on trust with her, with the therapist, then they might start to open up and be ready for a therapy session. Whereas when they get taken to a bureau and have to sit on their chair, that might not be as successful.
It feels like therapy, but wait, you just defined innovation for us. A type of innovation. So you said it's sometimes about combining 2 existing things that no one noticed,
combined before,
haven't been, and because someone notices that it works together.
Exactly,
it's innovation.
Yeah,
I think so many people have these ideas in their minds, but because they think, oh, but that's known, and that's known, that's not important. I don't have anything here.
Exactly.
But actually they do, and they can find places like this one and get support for it and
get feedback. Is this really new? How do I check if this is what the market, and in our way we always talk about Wirkung, which is like the effect that you have. The impact, pretty much. How do I find out if the impact that I want to have for the people that I want to support, if that's really happening the way I'm thinking about it? And there are ways to measure that. It's not as hard and on numbers, but there are impact measures that you can actually put into numbers and then see, am I having the social impact that I want to have?
And even if it's just few individuals to get the feedback, if it improves one person's life, it is something. So
absolutely,
the cause of the effect needs to be.
And that can have a
at.
trickle-down effect.
What is that?
Well, it's if you're helping, let's say, a parent who is an only parent and they're super stressed, and you're giving the kids skateboard therapy, that might take strain off of the parent. They might be less stressed. They might be a more relaxed parent. They might have time to fill out some super important forms that will give them money to support them to pay for housing. And that's a trickle-down effect. You do one measure.
Trickle down.
Yeah, you do one measure, but it has an effect on other aspects of life.
Okay, that must be
other people.
In project lingo. That must be like the secondary impact.
Yeah,
like those
actually.
things. Yeah, but they're so important, and they're like what do you call that now in English? English is not my native language, but when you throw a pebble.
Like the ripple
effect.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Reminds me of that. Okay, and this example that you just mentioned, it's so cool, and it's one of those things that you think, how did I not think of this before? And it's healing or progressing through doing, and it provides something to do.
It provides something to do, and a lot of the time, social innovations are not things. Like it's not a new muesli bar. It might be like we have 2 guys doing a wiggle board, like it's a wooden board for playgrounds where you can change the diapers of your child. It's very well designed, so the child can't fall off. There's some kind of weather protection, but you can see your other children.
It's a product.
It's a product, exactly. But most of social innovations are not a product; they are a service.
Service, and not. I noticed not all of them, or at least 50%, maybe that's my estimate. 50% of them in here are actually not just digital services. They might be a company, but there's a lot of things happening.
Of them, yeah, with
actually
very
in person
services.
And isn't that a change? I don't know if it's a change after COVID or whatnot, but it's like something we need, going back again to
be personal.
To attend things that have this feel of the third space is something I've heard as a phenomenon, or just someone gave words to a thing that used to exist, where you go to work or to school. That's one space. You go home. That's another space. And then the third space would have been going to the coffee shop, going to town, experiencing not something you attend and something that has an agenda, but something that's informal.
Where you have little interaction with people on the street, pretty much.
But still they're there and you observe. Or you might go out with friends, but somewhere you go regularly. Your job and what you do here, to me, seems a lot like that, like it's bringing back that lost space.
Yeah, that's true. And of course there are apps that can be a solution for social problems, but social in its core definition has to do with people. And if you want to connect people, if you want to teach migrated women how to ride a bike, you can't do that via an app. You always have to be on the person. There are very few apps who can actually do that.
And it's good to have them as a backup, but you have to do it.
Sure, we are not technology averse.
No, you're not.
If they can be supported, we always will consider that. I mean, now ChatGPT or like other artificial intelligence are coming up, and we see how we can integrate that into solutions.
To serve, as a tool, to serve the purpose.
Exactly.
And I know you have both of the approaches, and you integrate them together in your community. So the community meets, and I get the emails, there's these wonderful events and calendars up front for people to physically meet. There's these, what do you call them?
Like workshops, community learnings.
And like markets or flow markets. How would you explain to non-German speakers
like
a flow market?
A flow market?
Yeah.
Flea market?
Flea, like you have it here as well.
Yeah.
Opportunities to showcase and communicate. But then you also have the digital version of conversation, and you use a certain app. It doesn't matter now. There's various apps that do that, but people also do the quick communication.
Yeah, just we call it over the table.
Over the table.
This is why we have the co-working space here, because when people come here and they have a quick question, they can just come to me and say, hey, Corinna, I wanted to contact this person from the city of Freiburg. I know you know them. How
hey,
do
Corinna, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, put a reminder on your little to-do list.
Okay, thanks for that example.
And then I can just say, hey, well, yeah, in my opinion, they're super stressed out right now. Maybe try calling them, giving them a little heads up, and then emailing them next week. Or I can say,
so good, so useful to have someone tell you not now but then.
Yeah,
that's what you need. Or not through email but a phone call. Or so you can.
Or tell them they've had a similar event last year. I know they're already interested in that topic. Continue. I think you're entering an open door.
Yeah, that's the actual benefit of knowing the people. And also, it's just good for the soul, isn't it? It's just good for...
It's both. It's good for the soul, and we're well known in the city and also in the region by now. So if we enter a conversation, people know this is to be taken serious. Except for when a very young startup who no one has ever heard before is contacting someone, of course, they're thinking, well, why should I put my time in this? This sounds nice, but who's telling me I'm really getting something out of it?
It's spam. And this sound, if I don't know if there's a sound that you and I hear now. I don't know if it's transferring to the podcast. It's not deity or something. We're actually now in the co-working space, and we have some events around us. It doesn't bother us. It's actually a lovely, warm feeling to be in the middle of something. I keep we noticed we keep separating these sessions and keep coming back here because we like the energy.
That's so nice.
It's a compliment. So, okay. So now I think not only I know better about Social Innovation Lab, but I feel like the person who's hearing this for the first time knows better. Since the purpose of this interview today and of CommUnity podcast in general is to show how radio and podcasting can be a great tool for voices who are not generally heard, but very often to become heard, or for some ideas to shine, for some diverse voices to shine, for some solutions and so on. What do you feel like observing the SIL community? Do these entrepreneurs have enough of opportunity to speak in the public space and be heard?
Actually, they don't, because social innovation is not as big in society as, for example, technical innovation. And so when the newest iPhone comes out, everyone is having a big rave. But when a new social startup is founded, we really have to work very, very hard to make it seen, to make it heard. This is why we host an annual social innovation night, where we have speakers, we have our social startups on the big stage. There are 120 people here in the Lokhalle, and we get the social innovation on the big stage so they can get heard.
When is it usually?
This year it's on the 2nd of October. So it's in autumn.
Another no.
Yeah.
Good thing we're recording. Okay, so you realized that and you made sure that you have activities that support that. And I know that this particular space is a podcasting space. Was that one of the missions as well? I mean, it's only a coincidence now that we're doing this and it's also podcasting, but you also hinted something
that you can,
that you need podcasting. What's the story behind this space?
To be honest, we didn't have anything to do with it.
It's Grünhof.
We didn't. It's the Grünhof. We are part of a bigger co-working space called the Grünhof that has 3 locations. And here in the location at the Lokhalle, we have this beautiful big space. And it was sure that it was very clear that the podcasting box, as we call it, has to be part of of the equipment, of the infrastructure.
Okay, so it's these things happening simultaneously without us knowing about each other, but it's definitely a sign. We might keep doing this and coming back to showcase these beautiful voices and these ideas and what people are doing. And so far, what we've noticed with these few members of SIL, when they come here, they have a good time. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling it boosts their confidence and their vision even more.
Yeah, this is what we hear.
Okay.
I'm so glad. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I would kind of slowly conclude this. I think we represented the SIL very well. I have a feeling we could do this several times, like you have so much going on.
Go very, very deep.
But do you have kind of, as someone who is managing this or supporting this, and you're having all these important roles to navigate the social innovation in this space, do you have kind of a message for social innovators and someone who might need to persist at what they're doing or start a new thing? What would you kind of let them know?
I would say come to the coworking space. Of course, I'm saying this, but get out of the box at home, find like-minded people, talk to us, talk to many people about your idea, get the feedback, listen more than you're talking, really listen to the feedback. Be open to maybe changing your solution that you came up with in order to really meet the needs of your target group. And then be consistent. Really what we see, social startups that are successful are mostly successful because people keep showing up. Mm-hmm. Even when it's hard, even when the times are not always flustered with roses, keep showing up and good things will happen and you will be able to make your social startup a success.
Yay, I agree. And one final thing, how do they show up in this space? What's the best way? Is it a mixture of things? If someone is not so good in just showing up and knock on the door, can they send an email or keep banging the microphone?
Yeah, just send us an email. I think that's always the best way to connect, because that way we can always first filter, are we the best people to connect? Can we refer you to someone else? Because we have a super big network. We almost always know someone who can help out if it's not us. So just send an email.
That's important for them, maybe for the fact, where do they come from? Because they might actually listen to this and they're not from Freiburg. Yeah. So, but there might be a similar thing.
There are labs everywhere, all across Germany, all across Europe. There's the Social Impact Hub network all across Europe, and you'll find a place near you, I'm sure.
Great inspiration. Thank you so much, Corinna. Thanks for your time and this knowledge that you shared. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.